Well, I thought I was getting on here to do a personal reading, but I don't know who I'm reading for right now. I haven't looked at my Etsy order, so I know this isn't a personal reading. Even though Spirit waited until I was about to do personal readings and check those off to get me to do a collective reading. Ah, Spirit, you're so funny. And I'm just going to trust that that is divinely timed. I have my coffee with me. I put it in the refrigerator. Um, and so now it's cold coffee, which I usually like warm coffee on cold days, but here comes that cold. I've been getting icy cold winter. That's what they want me to look into. I've been getting it so much. So I'm going to light a candle, and I just got that story, The Little Matchstick Girl. And it's a story. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but it is the emotion that comes up when I think of that story is sadness. So I'm going to tell the story, and I want you to tell me what you think. Let me know what you know or think about that story. It was a little girl, and she was selling her matches on a cold, blizzard, wintry, frozen. She was homeless. They had no food, they had no money, hadn't eaten, and she was trying to sell matches on the street, and nobody was buying them. And so I think at one point she lost her shoe. So she only had one shoe. Well, eventually she realized had no hope. And so she went into no hope of selling the matchsticks. And so she just wanted to be warm at that point, you know? So she had no hope of selling the matchsticks. So she went into a corner where the wind at least wasn't blowing so hard, and had some like walls up so that the wind wouldn't get to her. I'm already seeing the symbolism. And so, and that little girl sat there and would light a match to stay warm. And every time she lit a match, she would see her grandma. She would see Christmas memories. She would see her life literally passing before her eyes. You know, she hadn't had much of a life. She was just a little girl. And so eventually, um, the last match, there were three actually, I think, at the end, if I'm remembering correctly. And she had just seen her grandma, and I think, and it just made her feel so happy and warm. She didn't want the memory to go away, so she lit all three matches at once. And the memory, and it's almost like her grandma got her to, like she joined into the memory. And then you realize they say the next morning that they passed by and a little girl was frozen in that little corner with her matchsticks with only one shoe on. Oh God, look the story up, The Little Matchstick Girl. And it's so sad, right? I had to really pull back some tears there. So now that I've said the story out loud, and y'all, when I was an elementary school teacher, that was a story that I would show my kids. Why did I do that? And none of my students would ever get sad, or they would never cry. They would never get too upset. It's like they didn't fully understand what happened, and I never told them. So why did I show them that story? And it really sticks out even now to this day. Even the little drummer boy, that's another story that's like a kid who's, I mean, that's a little different, actually. I'm not sure of the connection there, but I've been getting a lot of Christian stories in my head and in my peripheral, So, what I know of the little. Okay, so let's go back to the Little Matchstick Girl. Stop bird walking, Cassie. So, the Little Matchstick Girl, I think, represents our, like. I'm not sure, maybe our inner child. And anyways, the fact that she was trying so hard to get help and never received help and realized that she just had to go and help herself. And then she put walls up, boundaries. Yeah. Yeah. And so the wind, air, thoughts, words, speaking, communication, she blocked those. She hermited in a corner and then lit a match one by one, and it reminded her of beautiful things. So the thing is, she wasn't sad while she was going. Excuse me, you guys. Air, that was air coming up and bubbling out. Of course, it was a burp, but it was also a release. So I feel like I'm on the right track somewhere. And the fact that she only had one shoe. Interesting. One foot was protected and one wasn't. There's duality there. But yeah, and then at the end she lit 3. You can almost see this story as the crucifixion of Jesus. Hold on now. That's just a thought that entered my head. I haven't fully thought it through yet, so don't crucify me if it's wrong. Okay, so she went around trying to get people to give her money. She was a beggar, but she was giving them something in return. So it's not like she was just begging, she was actually giving them something in return, a matchstick. And a matchstick can light a flame to something small and it create this huge thing. The fact that it was matchsticks, fire. And I wanted to light a candle right before this reading. So fire being something that's, I'm getting fire signs here, heat. I'm getting alchemization. I'm getting like fire is transforming, it takes something from a solid state to a liquid state to a gas state. So I'm getting that there's another state that it would go into beyond, this is very interesting. So what's the beyond? What's the beyond? That's when it just goes into the energetic field to be used somewhere else. Okay, my crown dinged there. Okay, so 9:33 on the clock, 8:40 on the timer. Those 33, my God, if you've been seeing 33 or 33's been coming up for you, I'm sure you're connecting to this message. Also, Jesus was 33 when he was crucified. So basically, all of that to say that the collective that I'm tapping into is a very much going through a transformation, a death. You are going through a death right now. And I have a feeling, you guys, that it is the death of what you know of religion and spirituality. It's the death of what you've been taught all this time about Jesus and Mary and Joseph and honestly the whole thing, because I'm getting the books of Matthew and John and Mark and Luke now coming up, I'm getting the Gnostic teachings of Jesus. And those are making so much more sense to me. So if you're curious or you've never heard that before, look up Gnostic teachings of Jesus. And it puts things in a whole different light. It looks at the stories in a whole different way that's actually relatable. That's what I'm saying, is I've never felt like I could relate to those old stories. They never made sense to me, you guys. I feel like crying and laughing at the same time here. They never made sense to me. I was like, if these stories happened, why are we not seeing that now? I'm like, why was this a one-time occurrence that just didn't make sense to me? And it's because it wasn't. Because the stories that we were told are actually representations of things that actually happened. And so the stories have been told and retold and retold and retold. It's just like old myths and fables and stuff. There's different versions because people change things as they oral stories, oral telling, orature. I'm getting someone here who's actually very knowledgeable in oration. So shout outs. What's up? That's pretty cool. Maybe you can orate my story back there that I wrote called All the Seven Things. I mentioned being an elementary school teacher, and I taught math. So whenever I was teaching, I could never find a math book that would tell a story that actually could relate to the kids and teach a math lesson at the same time. And so I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to write a story that kids can relate to the feelings from it and kind of plant a seed in them as well, and also teach a math lesson at the same time. And there's even suggested activities at the end of the book. So it's a very good book to teach a lesson of knowing your value, knowing your worth, and also of odd and even numbers and several other math skills, which are all suggested in the back of the book. But anyways, I digress. You can find it on Amazon. All the Seven Things. And I wrote it and illustrated it, and my niece Destiny Heron digitized the illustrations for me, which was pretty dang cool. So there's that connection. I honestly shout out to my niece Destiny, because I honestly felt like my connection to others in a mutual exchange kind of way opened up significantly when I wrote that book. So that's why that came up. Sorry. I was like, why are you having me advertise my book, Spirit? But anyway, so yeah, that's it, is that a collective right now is being encouraged to collaborate, make connections, talk to people about your passions, and then find who has similar passions. And it feels like you become this magnet to working with others. But I'm getting that some of you are worried that you're going to attract the wrong people and you're not going to know. And that's a legit concern. I understand, but there is protection around you. Ooh, I'm getting also throat chakra here all of a sudden. So while you're talking about your passions, they don't want you to say too much. They don't want you to give away your secrets. They don't want you to give away your process. But they do want you to be willing to be open to collaboration. And then they will take care of the rest. Yes! That's that. They're just saying, don't worry. Just be open to collaborating and they will take care of the rest. I love that. That means we ain't got to do nothing. You just trust that it's coming. Okay, so let's do this. We want to ring this bell. By the way, this bell, 14:44 on the timer. This bell, San Antonio, Texas. Anybody from Texas, shout out, because this, if you are, then this reading must be free. You guys, I got behind a big semi truck today that was a blue star, and it stood out to me so much. And the name of the truck was Lone Star. And here's a star. And it says a happy charm on the back. And then there's a star right there. Oh my God. How cool is that? What a cool synchronicity. So if you've been seeing blue stars, definitely a symbol for you. Blue's definitely coming out here. I just saw my blue earrings, the moon. You may be a Pisces or a water sign. Someone with a lot of emotional depth and intuition. What just flipped over here? We've got Justice reversed and 8 of Cups. Okay, 8 of Cups has been coming up a lot in my readings. So let's dive into this. I'm getting a pain in my right shoulder, chakra, heart chakra adjacent. So, and it's a pain in the back. So I feel like someone has felt like they've been stabbed in the back, or have been somebody feels forsaken. 1616 on the timer. They feel closed off from spirit. They feel like spirit has forsaken them. This feels like the collective energy of I'm hearing God has forsaken me. Like someone who's been really praying and asking for help, and just like the Little Matchstick Girl. Wow. Just like the Little Matchstick Girl. Begging for help, and no one's responding from the spiritual world. That's what you feel like. And so this is like the Little Matchstick Girl, how she walked away from everybody. She walked away because they weren't doing anything to help her. So it feels like you may be walking up, like you feel like you've been forsaken by God or by Jesus or by your angels. You feel abandoned. Oh man. This single candle, the light is coming again. So your light is still shining. Your light, oh my God, your light is so bright that you can stand on your own. Just like this single candle is standing on its own. Even as I tip it, it is not falling. How cool is that? It's because I melt the bottom of the candle and stick it. So don't think I'm that magical. That would be really cool. Yeah, so seriously, you guys, there's something here that is so heavy. You just need to let it go. What? I didn't like that. I didn't like that. That didn't feel genuine. That didn't feel genuine. What was that? That felt like advice from someone who had no right to give it. Weird. So cut that. Whatever I just said. I don't even remember what I said. Anyways, whatever you just heard, that felt like the energy of someone who's giving advice from a not the right place. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we've got Judgment. This is your awakening here. This is your awakening. Red, the red wings, man. That color red. This is root chakra activation. 6 of Cups here. Yeah, stuff from the past is coming up. You feel all alone. You are alone in this. You're the only one that can go through this. There is a time where you're going to feel like you're getting no help. That it's the darkest moment. It's the moment where you feel hopeless. And you decide to walk away. And that is when an awakening happens. It's like you had to stop the pattern, the cycle, you were imbalanced. You weren't balanced. You were imbalanced. And this imbalance was causing you to focus on the wrong. I don't want to say wrong. That didn't feel right. On things that weren't leading you to your highest path. A message came through to have fun. Have fun with those around you. Good, honest, clean fun. Okay. I was drawn to get my charms, and then I feel like this reading is probably coming to an end. All right. How many? I'm going to get 3. Oh, wait. It wants me to get more. Okay. All right. All right. We've got the little turtle. Oh, he's so cute. But it says, handcrafted in Ecuador, saving one turtle at a time. Saving one. So you must be someone who's very compassionate and empathetic towards animals. You might even be involved in saving animals, or like, what's the word? Homing them or fostering them, or like a sanctuary. Wow, that candle just went really up high. Anyways, wow, that flame is so big, y'all. Let me see if it's still big when I put it up. Can you see? It's so high. Anyways, I'm gonna blow it out. Yes, perfect. And it's a green candle, y'all. This is, and all that green on there, this is definitely heart chakra, but it's also root chakra, being grounded, or just being grounded in general. Saving one turtle at a time. This feels like taking one day at a time. You know, turtles move slowly. Remember, the tortoise won the race, not the hare. So there's definitely slow energy, slow progress, but it's meant to be that way so that it can anchor in as you keep moving along. Okay. I definitely feel someone here who wants it to move faster. Of course, we always have that in us, but as you come to raise your awareness and raise your, once you start to have realizations and clarity about things, you'll realize that the pace you're going is exactly the pace you need to be going at. So there's a lot of trust here. These almost look like little worms. So those could be little ickies in your energy that I'm feeling from that. So again, grounding will help purify your energy. It'll help, you can send anything that doesn't belong to you back to earth, and it will alchemize it. You ain't got to worry about it. We've got a purple leaf. My dogs are barking. My dogs are barking. You know, that isn't that the, doesn't that mean like your feet are, yeah, you're tired, man. Dogs are barking like you're putting your feet up at the end of the day, right? Taking your shoes off. But does that mean that they're like stinky? I gotta look that up. Oh, I don't have my phone with me. That's probably a good thing. So yeah, your dogs are barking. You're tired. You're at the end of a cycle. You're gonna be able to rest soon, and that's what the story of Jesus is all about. It's death. It's transformation. It's just death of an old way of being and thinking. Yeah, you're going through a lot, so give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace and stop putting so much pressure on yourself, Chill out sometimes, I'm getting the sea turtle from Nemo, like, just relax, man. Purple leaf. What am I getting from this? I almost got like the purple, God, what's it called? The purple cloth that goes over the cross at like Easter time. So yeah, there's that again. Lord have mercy, the resurrection. So when there's this death, there's a rebirth. I'm getting rebirth energy from this. This is the cycles. Yeah, we just witnessed fall and winter is here, even though the date of winter has not hit just yet. That comes in December. Well, it is December. So, how many more days until the solstice, the winter solstice? Let me see. I think it's on the 21st. So, that is a week and 5 days away. If it's on the 21st, or if it's on the 22nd, obviously almost 2 weeks away. So that feels significant. The winter solstice seems like a significant time. That is the darkest or the shortest daylight of the year, obviously. So there's something here too about it being like a dark night, a long night, which of course, I could go in so many directions with that. My goodness, there's so many messages I'm getting. This is a time to really reflect upon like your shadows are being brought up, your triggers are being brought up at this time. You're really going through the ringer. Everything's being brought up right now to shed it, to release it. It's the year of the snake, literally. And 2026 is the year of the horse, and the horse represents freedom, because in order to gain freedom, you have to shed layers and layers, and it's an onion that you'll keep shedding even into the new year. But next year is definitely a year for coming into your own fully, your own sovereignty. We've got the clam or oyster shell, not sure which, but I always just get reminded of Pearl. But I'm getting that scene from, interesting, I'm getting that scene from Harry Potter. I can't remember if it must be the ending in the last movies where Dumbledore has to drink the liquid in order to get the Horcrux. And so he used like a shell to do it. So this is drinking poison. I mean, it was terrible. It basically killed him, but just it's a slow death. And interesting, there's that slow again. It's a slow death. So you've got to trust the process. You've got to trust that things are happening exactly how they're supposed to be happening. All right, we've got the dice. When the dice comes out, that means it's giving a number of some kind, and I feel like I'll intuitively know what that number means. Oh, wow. So this is a subitizing dice, by the way, and this dice is used to help children. There comes children again. See, I mentioned my book, and it's about children, and now this is about learning. Yeah, there's something here about learning. You're learning new ways of handling yourself. You're learning new emotions. You're learning how it's a whole new life, really. I'm surprised the Fool didn't come out, because that's what I'm feeling. It's like you're just experiencing things on a whole new level because of how much growth and healing you've done. But the number is 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, are you kidding me? There it is. So I knew that, it's funny how different people subitize, but I knew that those on the side equaled 8 because it's 4 and 4, and then I just did 8 plus 3 in my head. So it's supposed to be a quick way to do mental math, to teach kids to do mental math, and it has a quantity to go with the number. The symbol has a meaning. Here we got symbols and meanings. I mean, everything here is a symbol with a meaning, right? And we put meaning to symbols, otherwise it would just be a shape, so just like we put a value to a shape, like the letter A, the value is a letter A. And when you say a pencil, it's defining the pencil. So there's really something here about symbols, and the reason they hold power is because we put meaning to them. And this is a pretty harsh example, but the swastika actually it's like anyways, I learned some about it today when I was doing my Reiki 2 course, but basically that it represented something different, but Hitler wanted to use it and just turned it around, used like the right side or something like that. I don't want to give misinformation, but and then it became what it became for Hitler and the Nazi regime. So, and even now it holds power after all these years. Seeing that symbol, it's like, whoa, whereas it meant something totally different. So if that piques your curiosity, look up the origins of the swastika. And it even has different names. There's several names that it has, and it's like, wow. Okay. And snakes, like this the thought of a snake. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Ooh, snakes, I'm scared." But snakes represent healing. They represent transformation. They represent shedding, shedding layers. And there's even snakes around, around the medicine. I can't Coracia. I can't remember the name. But anyways, if you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Let me know if any of this resonated with you guys. But I'm going to sign off here, and I love you so much. Thank you so much. And if you do want a personal reading, you can head over to my Etsy shop. There are limited readings left, and I'm already kind of backed up, so it may take maybe a day or two longer than it normally would. But if you do order a reading and it does take longer to get, which I'm pretty adamant about getting them to you in a timely manner, so just be understanding for me, okay? All right. Good night, guys. Bye.